Check out the full story on Amazon. Link in the description below. I just finished killing a shit ton of knot deer in the Oregon woods with Task Force Nova Compass Hunter Team. Gary, Hugo, Reggie, and Jack. We were at the edge of the woods waiting for pickup when I received a phone call as Gary repeatedly screamed death threats at a guy over the phone. He owed him some money after a rigged game of poker. It was Smith, immediately telling us we were to go to another operation before we could officially take a small dose of whatever super soldier drug Dossact had cooked up. He'd said that a cult leader released something called anklers, also called the Nag Finawalgi, from an underwater cave, and now they were headed up to the surface and might attack fishing boats or cargo ships. When I mentioned Zach, Sergio, and the existence of the Hunters, he briefly remarked that they had partnered on a larger operation before. A few hours later, and tired, seasick, and pissed off, we were on the medium-sized boat. We drove a few miles out to sea where the warrior drones were last seen moving. The plan was to drop a shit ton of chum and dead bleeding fish right above the monsters, then lure them to the top and burn them or shoot them. We could have just carpet bombed the whole region, but Smith bitched about collateral damage and civilian attention. "How fucking long is it gonna take for these things to come?" Gary asked, spitting in the water as he lifted a half-cooked cod overboard and splashed it into the water. At this point, fucking never, I said, staring into the water. Suddenly, a huge creature lunged out of the bloody abyss and nearly bit my face off. And it would have if I hadn't dodged that last second. "Fuck!" I screamed. I held up my rifle and blew the head of the creature clean off as it landed on the deck, flopping and thrashing. Its head slid across the boat and landed right at the feet of Hugo, who just raised an eyebrow and shouldered his rifle. Without warning, another one of those creatures jumped out of the water and screamed at us. The creature was somewhat similar to the anglers we'd seen before, yet different. Its body was much more hunched and insectoid and had 4 long, jointed and sharp arachnid-like legs. Its upper body resembled a vaguely humanoid torso, but instead of arms, it had 2 spider-like legs coming out of its shoulders. The warrior angler drone also had 2 shorter appendages coming out from below its arms. As a head, the pale-colored monster had an eyeless anglerfish-like head with huge hinged mouth filled with sharp teeth. It was strangely smooth, protomorphic, and more black than the rest of its body. 3 muscular tentacles came out of the creature's torso, tipped with sharp bony appendages and acting as additional weapons. "It begins," Gary laughed. 2 more of the monsters jumped onto the boat and screamed at us, quickly advancing. I quickly resheathed my machete and grabbed a nearby pump-action shotgun, blasting the heads of 2 of the creatures off. Hugo, at the very back of the ship, was sniping out the warrior anglers climbing onto the ship. I could see a huge swarm of the motherfuckers swimming to the surface, screeching and clawing through the water. "Reggie, grenade!" Reggie, who was out of ammo and stabbing a warrior angler to death with his bayonet, threw me a grenade, which I quickly clipped to my own, and I lit the avocado of death, throwing it into the water as deep as possible. The 2 grenades sank and exploded just a dozen feet beneath the boat, rocking the ground beneath us. Dozens of incapacitated, dead warrior anglers floated to the surface. Then we realized something was happening. At least 100 warrior drones were circling the boat, and each took turns biting chunks out of the thick steel. "Fuck me, lads," Jack yelled. "They're trying to sink us!" I threw an incendiary grenade into the water, testing the effects of fire on the anglers. When the incendiary grenade blew up, it killed at least 5 times the amount that the regular grenades killed, despite the grenades being smaller as it boiled the water. "Fire! These fuckers are scared of fire!" Gary poured an entire jug of gasoline into the water and dropped a match into it, setting the entire surface ablaze, and killing dozens of the monsters as the water around us turned into an inferno. "It won't kill the ones under the boat," I said. "The fuckers are still sinking us." I looked into the water and sighed. Smith better be giving me a fucking raise. There was a deep snorkeling mask somewhere on the boat, and along with that I retrieved a long coil of rope, tied it to my belt, and handed the other end to Gary. "Tie this to the railguard." "Why?" "Just fucking do it, man. I'm already concerned about leaving my life in your hands. When I took twice, pull me the fuck back to the surface, got it? Maybe. Fuck this. I threw our last incendiary grenade into the water, waited for it to cool, putting the mask on and jumping in, which was only hot for a second at the surface. In the sudden moment, when there was no warrior anglers because of the recent grenade blast, I was free to swim without getting attacked. When I got under the ship, I saw that at least a dozen anglers were in the water, quickly killing the first few. As soon as the other ones noticed me, I pulled out my pistol and emptied the magazine. Most of the bullets missing, but a few of them hit their targets. One of the monsters tackled me, biting at my head as I tried to desperately dodge and evade it. I found a free spot as it bit, and I stabbed it in the neck with a diving knife in my other hand. I left it there, kicked the bleeding and thrashing monster into the depths. I swam back under the boat and finished the other ones off when the last angler swam up to me, lightning fast, ripped my snorkeling mask clean off, leaving me disoriented, my vision blurred. I stabbed into the motherfucker as much as possible, then tugged the line twice. Nothing. Gary never pulled me back up, and as that happened, I saw a vaguely human body sink in the distance. I quickly swam up and climbed onto the boat. "The fuck? Gary!" Hugo screamed. Jack couldn't stop or see what was happening, since he was killing the other warrior angler on the other side of the boat. Reggie was nowhere to be seen. Hugo shoved Gary, yet the latter didn't fall. "What the fuck are you mad at me for?" Gary shot back. "You just fucking killed Reggie! What the fuck? Your irresponsibility and goofing off just finally got a team member killed!" "What the fuck are you saying? I didn't kill him. How the fuck is this my fault?" "How is this your fault? How is this your fault? While you were kicking one of those fucking monsters, you kicked Reggie's leg and he slipped into the water and sank!" "I didn't fucking mean to," Gary said. "Shut the fuck up already. It's shitty enough as it is." "It's fucking it," Hugo said. The older man punched Gary straight in the face. Gary recoiled and hooked Hugo in the cheek, then followed up with a shove. "Hey, hey!" I yelled. "Break it the fuck up, we're fighting them, not each other!" I pushed both of them away from each other. "You don't fucking get it, do you?" Hugo snapped at me. "That bastard just killed one of our teammates!" "We don't have time for this," I said, feeling the guilt in my words. "I'm sorry about Reg, but we need to finish the job. We need to kill these fuckers." I walked over to Gary and had a quick heated conversation with him, as he explained everything that had happened. The stubborn angler wasn't dying, so Gary started blindly kicking at the clinging wounded monster. But he ended up accidentally kicking Reggie's leg, making him slip into the water on the other side of the boat. With all the gear and weapons weighing Reggie down, he instantly sank and got swarmed, drowning and getting ripped apart. Reggie was a huge asshole and probably a sociopath, yet he was my team member and brother in arms. And even unintentionally, Gary had killed Reggie. But I knew that when someone in war died, you couldn't just press pause and stop the battle to grieve over them. "Gary, looks like your fucking antics finally caught up with you. But let's deal with that later, man. Reggie's dead, and we'll have to deal with that later. Back on shore, and nothing's gonna change that." "Right on. He's gonna die anyways." I looked directly in the deep water and saw hundreds of those monsters surfacing up directly at us. "We need to get the fuck off this ship and blow this place up," I said. "Really? And how the hell do you expect to do that?" "Got it," Gary said, pulling a large inflatable dinghy with small motor out of the lower decks. We all started to pour gasoline on the entire deck of the boat and collect the rest of the explosives, grenades, and spare gasoline, put it all on one huge pile in the middle of the boat. We made a dry spot without any gasoline and poured a small trail of it leading to the pile of explosives. We got onto the life dinghy, turned it on, and threw a grenade into the gasoline puddles. "Go! Get the fuck out of here!" Gary screamed. I couldn't agree more. I turned the motor on full speed just as every little scary motherfucker from the sea surfaced and climbed onto the boat. I watched as the tiny gasoline trail grew 2 large puddles of flammable liquid, and the whole boat blew up, killed at least everything under for a dozen feet. I looked at the surface of the water and saw at least 100 dead monsters float and die. Later, the specialized deep diving team called the Leviathan Killers found what remained of Reggie on the ocean floor. The remains were shipped to North Carolina to his brother, and what other family he had. In the end, the mission was a success. We had killed every last warrior angler from the cave system, and had done it without drawing attention, besides all the sharks and unknown organisms that came to eat the dead anglers. I was paid a few million, and so were the others. But Kala-Tagathalku was coming, and we prepared for war. Zack set nearly the whole place in front of us on fire, engulfing every single one of the pillbug creatures, which I had named pills, in flames. They made a sort of weird screeching noise, which quickly cut off as we killed them. "Go!" I yelled. "Let's get the fuck out of here!" "No!" Zack yelled. "We need to get the book." "What book?" "The occultist summoning book." "Oh, for fuck's sake, it's just a hollowed-out leather book. One that Lawrence likes to drink whiskey out of." "Still had some loose papers." "Then you fucking get it, man." Zack turned his flamethrower off and quickly ran to the other side of the room, where the book was miraculously unharmed by the flames. "Got it! Go!" Zack threw a grenade into one of the tunnels, and we were getting the fuck out of there. I swore like an 11-year-old trying to remember every curse word he knew. Zack tried not to hit his head on the dangling roots and stalagmites, and Kyle just laughed and kept running. We ran out of the tunnel and collapsed onto the forest floor as we felt the ground shake beneath us, the grenade exploding. "Damn! Fuck yeah!" Kyle yelled. "The hell is in that book anyway?" I asked. One long and boring walk later, we were back in the living room, staring at the occultist book in disbelief. Of what loose papers were left in the hollowed-out book, Lawrence, or someone working for him, had scribbled the words, "Fuck you," in large words, obviously trying to hide what was written on the papers. But whoever the arsehole was, they had done a pretty shitty job at hiding it, and we could see everything under the dried-up marker. On the first paper we saw, there was a large title that read, "Homunculus." The other papers showed how to summon cult shit, including monsters and gods that we hadn't seen before. Also, it surprisingly showed a crude drawing of Zack, seemingly drawn by Lawrence. "Damn, this guy can't keep his hands away from you," Kyle said, laughing and showing Zack the drawing. "Oh, fuck off," Zack said. "Roger, what's this?" Zack showed me a drawing of some kind of creature on a piece of paper. The thing, from what I could tell, was large and looked like, well, nothing I'd ever seen before. "What the fuck is this?" I asked. "Exactly what I want you to figure out," Zack said. "So?" Zack asked, after I deeply stared at the drawing for at least a good 10 minutes. "What the hell is it?" I took a deep breath. My scientific estimates and professional opinion, this is a fucking alien. Zack sighed. "Forget it, look at this." From the couch, I heard Kyle scream, "Look at this!" I ignored him and looked over at Zack, who was trying to not vomit, reasonably. On the page beside the drawing, there was some scrawled and ancient-looking, but still English, writing, and a few drawings of some cult Satan ritual-looking shite. I know there are some people who don't go outside enough out there just clawing at the bit to summon some weird eldritch god, so I'll leave out some of the ingredients required to summon these creatures. The ingredients were: Number 1, human blood. Number 2, human organs. Number 3, offspring organs. Number 4, offspring blood. Number 5, dead human being. Number 6, stones from the abyss. The steps in order these go in, I will never tell you. "This?" I exclaimed. "Can we summon these things?" "Most likely," Zack said. "But you'd have to be one hell of a dumbass to do that." "Good thing I know a lot of those," I laughed. Then I heard Zack get a phone call from an unknown number that Zack somehow seemed to recognize. "Yeah, I know," said Zack to the person. "We'll be there." "Who was that?" I asked. "Get your shit ready. Zack yelled at everyone in the house. "We're leaving the Fat Claw to Gothelku tomorrow." Along with the rest of Task Force Nova Compass Hunter, I readied myself for the trip to the Pacific Ocean, where we would be stopping the death of mankind. We were given extremely high-tech giant mechanical suits that would essentially turn us into superhumans, giving us extreme strength and speed. We were also given some kind of injection that would help us heal very quickly, and hear, see, and smell much better than the average person. Besides that, we were each given a rapid-fire grenade launcher, a backpack, flamethrower, and a hell of a lot more weapons on the suit. "Ready?" Gary asked as we all loaded into the van that would be taking us to the fleet. "You always ask that." "No, I'm not ready," I laughed. "But at least we have fucking Transformer suits." That made me a little fucking worried about what we were going up against. I helped Zack load all the weapons we could carry into his pickup truck. Sure, we would probably have many more weapons given by the military guys, but it was good that we at least knew what we were going up against, and not to mention we would be fighting dozens of creatures I was sure no human had ever seen before, so the more the merrier. "You sure about this?" "Yeah, I guess." "Yeah, I guess," Christopher replied, shrugging. I could tell that he wanted some new action in his life. "Couldn't hurt, right?" "They'll be the ones hurting," Blaine scoffed. Marlowe grunted. "Do I get paid?" "No, you'll be a hero." Rita just stood beside the truck. "Hey," I said to her.
"What?"
"You sure about this?"
"If I weren't so fucking sure, I wouldn't have come this far. And I've been looking forward to this for quite a bit."
I raised my hand for a high five.
"What's this?"
"It's a high five. Do you remember those?" She just stood there. Ah, fuck it. I just flipped her off and walked away.
"What does shit mean?"
"It means thanks." I regularly had dreams back when I was with George and Doug. Him joining the US Marines as soon as he turned 18. From what I had heard, he was one of the youngest Special Forces soldiers. He had risen up the ranks very quickly, which may or may not have been because of his strange telekinetic powers, which was highly debated within his platoon whether or not it was true. When I ran into one of Doug's off-duty teammates once, he told me that he had seen Doug stop and destroy a .50 caliber bullet heading towards his face in midair. I just laughed and I told him I would have to catch up with Doug. As for me, I was totally not a loser living in my parents' basement. I totally had a job, a girlfriend, and friends. Was going to college to pursue a degree in, well, something. Well, it wasn't like anything that happened 8 years ago was going to happen again. That would be ridiculous. I joined my brothers as we boarded one of our own fleets of small battleships, heading out to sea as we prepared to meet the great lord Kala to Gothelku, and aid him in fighting off the enemy there. We had gone so far. After decades of hard work, I had finally discovered where the great lord was residing and chained, and I had used my scientific methods to free him and enact justice in this wretched world. And no group of fucking rednecks was going to stop us from taking what was ours. The international leader of hunters. The overseer walked down the long hallway. He was an extremely tall and muscular man, well over 8 feet tall, having to duck under door frames and some low ceilings. His real name was Lucius, but most people called him the overseer, as he was the leader and mastermind of the hunters. He was one of the most skilled and strong soldiers and hunters of all time, with the overseer being in several military occupations for the past 2 decades. He was a mercenary and very skilled bushman and survivalist, as he had lived in extremely remote woods alone for a period of time, around 2 years, being attacked by wild creatures, cryptids, and animals, killing all of them with only his bare hands and a foot-long bowie knife. The overseer was unanimously deemed one of the strongest and deadliest men in the world, and he had a cryptid and enemy kill count of 3,000. It was only on very rare occasions the overseer himself would go out to fight, as he was usually occupied with leading his organization. But this time was special. This time the entire organization had to fight the strongest monster that ever existed. The overseer ducked at a doorway as he entered his personal armory, a gigantic room filled with the most powerful and deadly guns, blades, explosives, flamethrowers, and weapons that could ever be wielded by a man.
Sergio,
the overseer said, calling one of the leaders on his phone.
I'm on my way.
Milo and I were going on the largest mission yet, going on a fleet of battleships to fight an eldritch god out at sea. He'd grown considerably taller over the years, now being around 8-9 feet tall, and with antlers longer than the average person's arms. Together in our years being the hunters, we had killed and fought over 300 hostile monsters together. "Let's go, buddy," I said to Milo as I got in my truck. He was now way too big to fit in the back of my pickup truck, so he just kept pace with me as I drove, running through the woods as we went to the military base. I had taken a shotgun, a few special rounds, a hell of a lot of pistols, a giant machete, and a flamethrower. Apparently, this was going to be the biggest war against the supernatural or paranormal threat in history. That we know of, at least. And I was pretty fucking excited. And based on how eager Milo was to kill some more eldritch entities, he was too.